guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Amy. Welcome. I am in my first year of making booktube content. I am pretty new to the booktube space, but I have loved making videos for a very long time. I think I started making videos in junior high. But anyway, I'm a big reader. I love talking about books, and that is the primary purpose of this space. But today I'm coming to you with something a little different. I'm going to be talking about the things that I loved in the wintertime. The idea for this video came from a podcast that I listened to, The Next Right Thing by Emily P. Freeman. And on that podcast, she does a quarterly episode where she talks about what is saving her life in that season. The idea originally came from Barbara Brown Taylor, but the concept is that we all have things that are helping us get through the next season of our life, things that we are enjoying, things that are inspiring us and giving us life. And that can be anything from a new food that you've been enjoying, a new show, a book. It could really be anything. So I'm going to be talking through the things that have been saving my life in the winter time, basically my winter favorites, and that is going to range from bookish things to food items to activities and some media as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. Because this is a booktube channel, hence my username Amy B Books, I do want to go ahead and start with my bookish favorites, the things that have been giving me a lot of life, a lot of joy this season. And I'm going to start with something that I use every day, and that is my books tablet or my e-reader. Now, I used a Kindle for a long time, and I was generally pretty happy with it. There were just a few things that I wish my Kindle could have done for me. That is where this comes in handy. This is basically an Android tablet, but it has the e-ink screen that most Kindles have. It does have a backlight that you can basically turn all the way off like a Kindle Paperwhite, but if you're reading at night, you can turn that backlight up a little bit so that you can still see your screen. You can also adjust the warmth of things, which also helps my eyes, especially when I'm reading at night. I'll put the name of the exact model that I have here below, but this version has color e-ink, so I can use it to read my graphic novels as well as any other books or PDFs that I'm reading. You may be thinking, well, Kindle just came out with an e-ink color screen, but I felt limited with my Kindle because I could only read books that were on the Kindle app. With this, I can download other apps too, so I can read on whatever platform I want. My library card includes access to Libby, which does deliver to Kindle, so I do use that to read on the Kindle app, but it also includes the apps Hoopla and Boundless, and the ebooks that I download on those apps have to be read in those apps, so I couldn't read those on my Kindle. I needed to read them on my phone, on my computer, or on my iPad, but now I have a way to read those on my e-reader, and I am really happy with it. I'll give you a quick glance at mine. So I do have this open to a graphic novel, and you can adjust the coloring if you feel like it's not looking true to the colors that you want it to. You can make it more vibrant or more muted. This is the setting that I thought looked fine for this app. You can also adjust between apps as well. Because it is an e-ink screen, it does have some trouble with ghosting, which if you've read on an e-reader or a Kindle, you probably know what I mean by that. But for the most part, when I'm reading graphic novels, I can kind of ignore that. For a long time, I definitely had a preference for reading physical paper books, but these days I found it a lot easier to read on something so versatile like an e-reader, and because I can adjust the size of the text and because I'm continually tapping the screen, I'm able to focus a little bit more and therefore get through my books a little faster. So all in all, this has been a huge help to my reading life these days, and it is definitely saving my life. My next bookish favorite is The Comfort of Crows, A Backyard Year by Margaret Renkel. I haven't mentioned this in any of my book videos so far because this is a continual read that I'm reading throughout the year. It goes week by week and focuses on different aspects of each season and lessons that the author has learned or reflections that she's had as she observes the natural world, finding beauty and wisdom. And it's really just the most beautiful book. She is an avid birder, and so she does talk a lot about birds in this book, but she talks about other aspects of nature as well. And there are just a lot of really beautiful pictures throughout, as well as poetry and songs. I'm actually in the process of catching up because I got a little bit behind. I should be on winter week 12 now, I believe. But this book is really encouraging me to slow down, to pay attention to what's going on in my literal backyard. And being in nature and reflecting on nature is very restorative to my soul and just helps bring out my best self. So I've really been enjoying this. In particular, there was a chapter that I was reading the other day. It is called Hate to See That Evening Sun Go Down. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it because I feel like it's very relevant in my life right now and probably relevant to a lot of you as well. It says, "To follow politics these days is to court bewilderment, denial, complete despair. Too often, I feel I am living in a country I no longer recognize, a country determined to imperil every principle I hold dear, and many of the people I love too. Immersing myself in the natural world of my own backyard, or the nearby parks and greenways, or the woods surrounding our friend's cabin on the Cumberland Plateau, is the way I cope with whatever I think I cannot bear. I'm not trying to hide from the truth, but to balance it, to remind myself that there are other truths too. I need to remember that the earth, fragile as it is, remains heartbreakingly beautiful. I need to give my attention to a realm that is indifferent to fretful human mutterings and naked human anger, a world unaware of the hatred and distrust taking over our news." It continues on, but I find that especially to just be really hopeful and true to my own experience. It's very easy to get so discouraged by the things that are going on in the world, the things that we're hearing on the news, and there's something... Sorry. I had a bug and I freaked out a little bit. Funny, talking about nature, I still really don't like bugs in my house. Some of them are okay, some of them are not okay. Anyway, I think I was saying that it's easy to get caught up in so many of the things that you cannot control and feel worried about, and there's something really centering about being in nature and knowing that the world keeps moving. Life finds a way to quote Jurassic Park. Regardless of how terrible humans can be, nature is, like she said, heartbreakingly beautiful, and there is so much good still happening around us. So anyway, I was very encouraged by that, and just taking time to reflect on nature, to actually go outside and experience nature, especially now that, at least in my area, things are warming up, things are starting to grow a little bit. Those things are definitely saving my life right now, and I just think it's really important. All right, my next bookish favorite is actually a cookbook, and something that I'm trying to do more of these days is actually read my cookbooks. A lot of people don't really talk about reading cookbooks, but I find the act of reading a cookbook to be really cozy and also inspiring. A food writer and creator that I really enjoy is Tegan Gerard. She runs Half Baked Harvest. You can go and check out her Instagram account or her website, and you'll see that everything she makes just looks so amazing. But you can just tell that she loves food, and I feel like that's generally the case for people who create cookbooks. A lot of cookbooks, besides just including the recipes, also include a little background to the recipe, why they love it, how they are making it their own, and I just love how personal it is to these chefs. The way that someone can talk about their recipes and just the love and passion that they pour into their art can actually be what convinces me to try something new. This is the one that I'm currently reading. This is her first cookbook. I have all but her newest one as well, but I love the way that she writes about food. And there are so many things in here that I want to try. I've been trying to make a few here and there as I'm reading it and as I feel inspired, but reading cookbooks is really saving my life right now. It's making me feel so inspired and gave me a lot of cozy vibes throughout the winter. Speaking of food, I have a couple things that I want to mention in the food category. Both are drinks. The first is generally tea. I have been a tea drinker for a long time, but I go in seasons where I drink it every once in a while and other seasons where I need it every day. And right now it is definitely an essential part of my existence. That sounds really dumb, but I am just really enjoying my tea right now. I have some right here. A couple of my favorites right now are Lady Grey from Twinings, as well as Paris from Harney and Sons. I've had both the regular Paris and the decaf Paris, and both are really good. Both of these teas have bergamot, which is a key flavor in Earl Grey. Lady Grey is like Earl Grey, but it has some citrus in it. The Paris has some cozier notes of like caramel and vanilla on top of the bergamot. Both are so good and they're definitely some of my favorite teas of all time. I will usually drink one of those in the morning or early afternoon, and then in the evening I drink an herbal tea. I really like spice teas like a chai. I really enjoy the Bengal spice from, I just forgot the name of the company. I'll put it here, but that's one that you can very easily find at the grocery store. Harney and Sons also has a really good spice tea, and sometimes I'll just go with a peppermint tea. Those are kind of my go-tos, but I have a lot of others in my tea/coffee cart. Personally, I like to sweeten my tea. I think it brings out more of those flavor notes. I usually like to use brown sugar or rock sugar. The rock sugar that I get is a brown like beet sugar, or of course honey. My friend just gave me some local honey, so I've been using that a lot. As the weather starts to get warmer, I usually switch to iced tea. But I still think hot tea is going to remain an essential part of my day. So tea, brewing tea, enjoying tea, this is definitely something that's saving my life right now. A few months ago, my husband and I were traveling and we stopped at a gas station and we got some Liquid Death. It's a sparkling water brand that has been growing in popularity. I had heard of it, but I didn't realize that they had flavors. I think I got the mango flavor and my husband got the lime flavor, and they do sweeten it with a little bit of agave, and I just think it's really good. It has natural electrolytes in it, so it's a bit more hydrating than a normal glass of water. I just like a bubbly water, so since then we have been buying it here and there. It is pricey for what it is, I think, but it's definitely something that we've been enjoying, and I felt like I also needed to include that on this favorites list. Next, I'm going to talk about a few activities that I've really been enjoying and that have been saving my life in the winter season. The first is a very simple one, and it's definitely been more of a recent favorite, but it's simply opening the curtains and opening the windows a little bit, letting fresh air come into my house and in my space. If it's super cold outside, I don't recommend opening your windows wide open. I don't recommend doing this all over your house, but cracking your window a little bit for a short period of time in the day, letting just that little bit of fresh air in can really make a difference. At least it has for me. I love hearing birdsong and rustling leaves and just feeling slightly more connected to the outside world. And definitely throughout the winter, finding any way to get a little more sunshine into my space definitely helps boost my mood. So that's something that I've been doing a lot, and especially now that it's starting to get warmer outside, I am doing it as much as I possibly can. I really think that there are a few things that boost my mood, like having a house with open windows on a breezy, sunny day. Another thing that saved my life in the winter was going to the movies. My husband and I didn't get to do this very much, simply because our schedule is not very flexible anymore now that we are parents, but we did make some time to go to a few movies. Of course, we went to see Wicked, which was incredible, but we also went to see The War of the Rohirrim, which was the animated Lord of the Rings movie, and very recently we went to go see Conclave, which was showing in theaters again after it was nominated for Best Picture. And I've always loved going to the movies. My family went to the movies with some frequency growing up, but especially in the last, 5 years or so, I've really begun to appreciate the art of film, and going to the movies where there are no distractions, where my only job is to watch a movie, is truly such a special experience for me. And if it's a really good movie, then I walk away feeling really inspired, feeling like I witnessed something beautiful and really well crafted. That's definitely how I felt after seeing Conclave. I didn't see a lot of the Best Picture nominations. There are a few that I want to see still, but I feel like that one was just really well written and really well acted. It was incredibly thought-provoking, and I really felt like it gripped me the entire time. I love when a movie doesn't need to be full of action and special effects to tell an incredible story, and that's definitely how I felt watching that one. I definitely recommend it. And even though my husband and I don't get to go to the movies as much anymore, it was really special to go see those movies in the winter time and just to be reminded how much I do do really love going to see a film in a theater. Something else that's been saving my life recently is reading by candlelight in the evening. A while back, I started journaling by candlelight in the evenings just as a way to quiet my brain after a long day of looking at screens and being surrounded by noise. Turning the lights off, lighting a candle, and sitting in the silence and letting myself breathe really brought a lot of peace that I didn't know how much I was missing. I definitely need to get back into journaling, but recently that habit has turned into reading by candlelight. I'm currently working through a Bible reading plan for the season of Lent, and so I've been making myself a cup of tea, lighting a candle, and focusing on the words on the page. And something about that practice has just been incredibly good for my mind and my spirit. The candlelight really helps me to push away thoughts of the other things that have happened throughout the day and to focus on what's in front of me. Maybe it sounds like a silly or a simple thing to do, but if you feel like you are struggling to find moments of peace, I definitely recommend trying this. It's been so life-giving, and yeah, it's definitely saving my life right now. I'm going to mention one more activity, and that is garden planning and looking through seed catalogs. If you are a gardener, you know that there's something incredibly exciting about starting your garden in the spring. I am a pretty new gardener. I had a very small failed attempt at gardening a few years ago. Last year, I had a relatively successful larger backyard garden, and this year I plan to expand even more, and hopefully things will go even better than last year. But I decided to pre-order the whole seed catalog from Baker Creek. This is a seed company that I really like, and they do have a free catalog, but I really wanted to get the whole seed catalog, which I think is over 500 pages. Yes, 532 pages. And it's just incredible how many rare seeds that they have. So many varieties of things that I've never heard of. It's full of just beautiful pictures with a description of each variety, giving history on these seeds and what makes this variety special. So I looked through this entire thing. I made a massive list of things that I was interested in growing. Definitely could not grow all of those things. I don't have time or space to do that, but it was just so inspiring to me to just let myself dream and imagine growing all of these things in my backyard. And then when it came time to actually plan, I spent a lot of time reflecting on what I wanted my garden to produce this year, what I thought I could reasonably do. I definitely am over ambitious in this area, but I also try to not put too much pressure on myself to be perfect, because I'm never going to be perfect, and there's so much of the garden that is out of your control. So I've just decided that I'm having fun with it. I am investing money into it, so I don't want it to be a complete failure, but I know that I'm going to continue to learn as I go along, and maybe someday I'll be able to say that I'm actually good at gardening, maybe. But anyway, having that to look forward to in the spring definitely gave my winter self a lot of joy, and that was definitely a favorite. I already mentioned the movie Conclave, but I do want to mention a few other media favorites. My husband and I just rewatched season 1 of Severance, which is an Apple TV original show. That show is incredible, and I definitely think it's worth doing a month or a trial of Apple TV Plus just to watch that show. I'd also recommend Ted Lasso, because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. But Severance is so weird and intriguing, and just some of the best storytelling that I've ever seen on the screen. We just started season 2. We're only a few episodes in, hoping to get caught up before the season finale, but season 1 left you on such a cliffhanger, and having to wait so long for season 2 after the writers strikes and the Screen Actors Guild strikes, it feels like I've just been waiting forever to finally get some more answers. Of course, the show is always going to leave you wanting more answers, because that is the nature of the show, but man, it has just been so fun to get back into this story. That has definitely been a favorite over the last month or so. When I started my gardening journey, I was recommended the YouTube channel Roots and Refuge, which was created by Jessica Sowards, and this is her gardening and homesteading journey. She does a lot of garden tours. She provides so much great advice and information for new and veteran gardeners, and homesteaders. I just love watching her journey, and I feel like she is such a genuine and beautiful person. And even though I don't know her personally, I feel like we see eye to eye on a lot of things. And over the last couple of months, I started listening to her podcast, which she started a few years ago. I decided to start at the beginning, and that is definitely saving my life right now. It has been over the last month or so, and it continues to be so good for me. She's encouraged me to dream and think about what I really want, to not compare myself to other people, to slow down and be really considered in the things that I do and the things that I pursue. And I feel like those are things that I really needed to hear, and it truly feels like I have a friend to talk to as I listen to these podcasts. Don't worry, I try to talk to my real life friends about these things too, but it's definitely given me a lot of food for thought, and I've just been really thankful for that in the last couple of months especially. The last media thing that I want to mention is an app. It's The Quiet Collection by Emily P. Freeman. I mentioned her earlier. She created the Next Right Thing podcast. She's a wonderful writer, but she has this app called The Quiet Collection, which includes prayers and reflections that you can listen to. But one of the free resources that is on that app is just a recording of her saying the prayer of St. Francis, which is a prayer that I have felt really connected to for a long time, but especially in recent months. So being able to play this recording as I lay in bed or as I get ready in the morning just has brought me a lot of peace, knowing that there are so many things going on that I have no control over, but trying to see my part and my purpose in all of this has just been really good for me. If you're not familiar with that prayer, it starts with, "Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love." Looking at all of the bad or negative things in the world and trying to be a source of light and love and goodness, just reminding myself of the important work that I have to do, the things that I have control over, has given me a lot of peace and given me a sense of direction. Asking God to help me to be those things in a dark and hateful world is something that I just have to cling to. And while I have prayed that prayer many times in the past without the app, I have found the app to be a really beautiful addition to my everyday. Finally, I want to mention one more thing, and that is an experience that I had in the winter months, and it definitely saved my life in a lot of ways. It gave me a break that I really needed, and that was to go on a friend trip with my friend Caitlin to Universal Studios in Florida. She and I both really love Universal. We both love Harry Potter, and we both just really needed time away from things going on back at home. And if you've never been to Universal during the Christmas season, it is so magical. It's a completely different experience in my opinion. It's my favorite time to go, especially if you can go at just the right time to when it's not super busy. You can get lower wait times, and even if you do have to wait a while for things, the weather is just so much nicer in November and December than it is basically from March to September. My friend and I had so many great conversations. We made so many beautiful memories, and it wasn't a long trip, but it was still remarkably restful, and it was just really, really fun. It's something that we definitely want to do again in the future if we can make it work. But going to one of my favorite places, having that little break from my day-to-day, being with one of my favorite people in the world, having really nice weather in the midst of a cold winter, and being able to experience all of the holiday fun at Universal was just one of my favorite parts of 2024. Having that little vacation definitely helped save my life and push me through the rest of the winter months. There are so many more things that I could say. I feel like I have a lot to be thankful for, but I don't want to keep you all day and all night and forever and ever. So I'll end my list here. I'd love to know what your winter favorites are. I'd love to know what's been saving your life in the last few months. Maybe some of those things are things that will be saving my life in the springtime. I don't know. Hopefully some of these things will give you inspiration for the coming months. If you have any favorite teas, I'd love to hear those recommendations below. And I'd also love to know if there are any films that you've watched recently that you feel are especially worth watching. I definitely don't have all the time in the world to watch all of the films that are out there, but if someone makes a personal recommendation to me, I am definitely more likely to give that a chance. So please leave those below. I'm hoping to do this every quarter or every season, so definitely keep an eye out for my next list. But I think I've been rambling on enough, so thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.